Welcome to the Lovestead.
Hello friends, welcome back to Lady Lovestead Reads. My name is Jessica, my pronouns are she, her, hers, and this is a weekly vlog. I already filmed the intro to this, but I was in a very stressy headspace and I didn't like my own attitude, so I'm trying a second time. Yeah, it's Monday, May 8th, and I've already had a fairly stressful morning dropping Pi off at the vet clinic. Pi has had some challenges lately. You know, prayers for her are welcome. So, I'm on my lunch break now, and now that I've had food and dropped her at the vet and dealt with some other things, I'm in a better headspace because I was just not a fun Jess earlier today. We were cranky Jess, and well, I'm all about being fairly open. I also don't really want to spread toxicity, right? So I just deleted it and started over again because we're doing better now. Whew, woo boy. Let's talk about what I'm reading. On audiobook, I'm reading White Horse by Erica T. Worth. This is a horror, and it's about Carrie who gets a bracelet that belonged to her dead mother. And when she touches the bracelet, she starts seeing ghosts. And it's really good. I'm loving it so far. It really talks a lot about like discovering your ancestry and, you know, reclaiming your heritage and your connection to the past. And that's something that I'm kind of experiencing myself right now, going through some things from my dad's estate and stuff like that. And so it's one of those moments where the book is hitting just right because I'm dealing with something similar in my own life. I'm not seeing ghosts, but like rediscovering my ancestry and learning more about my family history and that kind of thing. And so really loving this book because of how it parallels what I'm learning myself about my own life. If it continues as is, I think it'll be a 5-star read, and it will be one of the ones I want to reread in December. Then my Kindle Unlimited book right now is Kill Switch by Penelope Douglas. This is book 3 in the Devil's Night series, and this is the love story between Damon and his love interest. I don't remember her name. Winter. Winter is her name, and it is a dark romance. I believe it's enemies to lovers is the trope. And I really am sucked into this story. Penelope Douglas's writing has gotten better with every installment in this series. Like, this is the best written of all of them that I've read so far. And like, I thought the first book was okay. I really liked the second book. And I suspect this third book is just going to be even better than the second one, right? Because already the writing has improved and the character development has improved. Like, the character of Damon is so interesting. Like, there's so much going on in this guy's head, and she's really doing such a good job of creating that headspace for us and sort of inviting us in. And it's very dark, like very dark. This is a dark romance. It's really good, and I like it so far. I am seeing a lot of stuff on various booktube channels talk about how toxic dark romance is and how it can be a really bad influence. And I don't disagree with that. I think there are some out there that definitely cross a line, but I also think it's okay to enjoy those books. And it's okay for people to read those books because a lot of times it's a catharsis for folks. And I think that the reason so many people get so sensitive about people criticizing dark romance is because of the way it helps people process their trauma. So that's my hot take on it. I know it's not all that different from other people's hot takes. Like, I agree that some books do cross the line, and there's definitely a lot of toxic stuff out there that you don't want to emulate, but I don't think people read them because they want to emulate it. I think they read it because it's helping them work through trauma. Anyway, that's my Kindle Unlimited book so far. The big book that I'm currently reading is Legendborn by Tracy Dion. I'm pretty close to finishing this. I might even finish it in this vlog, about 70% of the way through, and I decided to take the plunge and start annotating. I usually don't annotate because I try to resell the books that I'm not going to reread and keep. But when I got about 65% in, I was like, yeah, I'm definitely keeping this because I'll want to reread it. So I just bit the bullet and started annotating. And annotating really does like change your reading experience. It's almost like having a conversation with what you're reading. So I might go ahead and just annotate the books that I own and not worry too much about resale value. I don't know. Undecided. It might be a book by book decision. We'll just see. But Legendborn is a young adult fantasy, dark academia, and it's about Bree, who gets accepted to college early at North Carolina and discovers that there's magic and joins a secret society that focuses on magic around Arthurian legends. That's the gist. Really liking it. Very absorbed in the story. And then the last book that I'm reading right now is The Villa by Rachel Hawkins. I went into it not knowing anything about the story. I just know that I read Reckless Girls by this same author and I really liked that. So I went and picked this up, and what's happened so far, I'm 30 pages in. And what has happened is so far is there are two writers, and one of them is a self-help writer who gets really famous, like think like Glennon Doyle or Cheryl Strayed, like that kind of a writer. And they decide to go on a 6-week vacation to a villa in Italy. And that's all that I know so far. But one of the writers in here is a cozy mystery writer, which is kind of fun. And Rachel Hawkins must read cozy mysteries because she's really familiar with the genre and knows, like, explains it, like, correctly and all of that. I almost wonder if she writes a cozy mystery series under a different name or something. Might be something to research or look into, but I think that's kind of fun, being someone who reads cozies, that they bring up cozy mystery and like all the genre conventions and all that jazz, and it's pretty fun. I might even try to see, so they give the name of the series this person writes. I wonder if it's a real series. I'm gonna have to look it up now. I will look it up at some point in this vlog and get back to you about that.
I am exporting my library. It's going to take a while. It's a big library, but I'm going to export this into an Excel file to use for book club. Woohoo! It is Tuesday, about 5 p.m. I'm at the barn with my favorite little barn cat. That's Ember. She's the best. She's super sassy. She doesn't like anybody, but for some reason we get along. Probably because I also don't like anybody. That's not entirely true. I like bookish people. So, yesterday was stressful. I had to take, I don't remember if I told you this, but I had to take Pi to the vet. She had a tooth pulled last week and it had an abscess, and her face swelled up after that pretty bad, like swelled up, nostrils swelled closed, stuff coming out her eyes. And so I had to take her back yesterday, and the doctor thinks that the hole where the tooth is healed up too fast, so the infection couldn't drain out. So they sedated her again this morning and reopened the hole so that it could drain, and then cleaned it out really well and pulled out some dead bone, and like just, I can't even imagine how painful this process has been for Miss Pie. Like, she's on some good pain meds, but that was stressing me out because she's old, she's got bad kidneys, and she's going under sedation twice in less than a week. and she came out of it okay, thankfully, but it's been so stressful. So stressful because, I mean, having aging pets is a difficult emotional roller coaster. And I accept that because I love them, and I know that that's the challenge that's going to always be there when they're aging. But sounds like she's doing okay. I get to bring her home tomorrow. Anyway, I tried to just like physically exhaust myself because I was so anxious. I knew I wasn't going to sleep very well. I was so worried about her having this procedure this morning. So I was at the barn for 5 hours. 5 hours. The first couple hours I was just doing chores and helping with chores. The second couple of hours I was doing work with Doll. So, and then I went home and I had dinner and I did house chores. I did some cleaning and I did a water change on the fish tank, or the goldfish tank, because I wasn't going to sleep unless I physically exhausted myself. Okay. I did get some reading done before bed to try to just chill. I read Legendborn, and I am so much enjoying this book. Something clicked for me. Like, I wasn't into it very, very well. That's a weird phrase, weird phrasing, but I just wasn't fully immersed in the story until about the halfway point. And now I'm like, I'm there, I'm in it, I'm invested, I'm immersed. And today's the day I'm supposed to read my normal size book, but I kind of want to just go back to Legendborn and read it till I'm finished with it. Maybe I'll do that. I don't know. So anyway, that's what I read last night. Loving it, loving it. 70% of the way through, or 72% or something like that. And then last night, I had terrible nightmares about my deceased father who passed in October. They were gruesome. They were traumatizing. Did not get good sleep. Having flashbacks about the nightmares today. And so the anxiety is high again. Didn't get a good start on my regular job work. I got a late start, I should say. Didn't manage to get out of bed as early as I needed to get my full day of work done before barn time. So I have barn time now. I just cleaned stalls, and then I'm going to go do a little bit of self-care and get a healthy dinner from this local restaurant we have here called Pita Pit, and then probably go home and try to like finish my work, but like in a self-care kind of way. This clip is getting really long. Needless to say, I'm at the barn. They're going to bring horses in here soon, so I'll spend some time with Miss Doll, and then we'll go from there. Good morning, Maggie. Good morning. Good morning. He's such a good girl. You're such a good belly rubs. Belly rubs. Belly rubs. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, you're a good girl. Hello, it's Wednesday morning. I'm just checking in here before work. Got a few minutes before logging into work. And I did read a little bit of Legendborn last night. Not as much as I wanted to because I had a bit of a backlog of work to get through. But I did read a little bit more of it, and there is a love triangle happening, and I am here for it. Here for it. I actually really, really like this love triangle. I like love triangles if they're done well, and this is done well. I read more of White Horse, and I'm obsessed with that book. It is one that's being added to my December reread list. And the next time I buy some books, I think I'm going to buy myself a copy because it's hitting. It is hitting. And I honestly might not even wait till December to reread it because it's so interesting when books mirror your life. So interesting. Because like I'm going through this process of like discovering my own family lineage, my family tree, my ancestry. And both White Horse and Legendborn touch on those topics in those books. It's a big theme. It's a big plot line in both of those books. And so they're just hitting such a sweet spot for me right now, you know? It's so cool. Tell me down below about a time that happened for you in a book, where you read a book at just the exact right time in your life and it mirrored something you were going through. Tell me down below about an experience you've had like that, because I'm sure we've all had those experiences, and I would love to hear your experiences with that. So let me know. It's Pie. It's Pie. Hi, baby. Hi, sweetheart. Mama loves you. Yeah.
Hello! It's a little later Wednesday, in between my dinner and teaching night class. I got to pick up Pie. So I picked up little Pie. She's doing okay. Her face actually looks a lot better. You can kind of see the swelling in the video, but her face looks a lot better than it was looking. So I think I'm cautiously hopeful that she's moving in the right direction. She's got like 3 different antibiotics and painkillers, and hopefully this will clear up and she'll have several good years left with me, and that will be that. Fingers crossed. Last night, I took footage last night at the barn. It was my last check-in aside from this morning when I talked a little bit about Legendborn. So yeah, last night I did some work with Dolly outside in the round pen, and then we tried to walk a trail and she had a meltdown. Can somebody please tell my horse that I promised to protect her from those horse-eating deer and the horse-eating bunnies on the trail, that I will not let the deer or the bunnies eat her? Can you tell her? Can you let her know all is well? It'll be okay? Because we're working through that right now. She trusts me in the round pen outside, and she trusts me around the barn outside, but we're still building trust on the trails. So that was a fun time. And then I came home and I ended up having a little bit more work, like I said, than I thought. And so I worked until like 1 in the morning. And then I had to get up and teach class this morning. And after class, I went and picked up Pie. And now, like I said, it's that in-between time between like my dinner break and night class. And I wanted to share with you a book haul. My Book of the Month books came in. For May, as an add-on, I picked up The Adventures of Amina Al-Sharafi by Shannon Chakraborty. This has been pretty popular on BookTube right now among fantasy readers. And I love pirates. Love pirates. My 21st birthday was pirate themed. So love it. Love it. Yeah, that's all I really know about it, is that it's a fantasy with pirates in it. So I was like, sign me up immediately. And then my May pick was The Collected Regrets of Clover. And it's so funny because I was watching Jan Agaton's May releases video, and she talked about this book in that video, and I was like, oh, that sounds really good. So I went to Amazon and Thrift Books and put it on my wish list, completely forgetting that it was the book I picked for Book of the Month this month. So when I got it in the mail, it was such a happy surprise because I was like, I just was thinking about this and adding it to my list. So I'm excited. All I know about it is that it's about a death doula, and I'm a little bit obsessed with death. It sounds weird to say that. I have an inner goth girl, okay? She finds death to be a fascinating topic. It helps me cope. Honestly, it helps me cope in thinking about how, you know, we're all going to die at some point. So we might as well wrap our heads around it while we can. Did you get anything from Book of the Month this month? If you did, what'd you get? Tell me down below. Hi, it's Thursday. Where is this week going? Time is going by really fast. Yesterday, taught my night class, and then I spent the rest of the evening finishing Legendborn. 5 stars. 5 stars. 5 stars. There are some significant issues with this book, like the pacing is probably the biggest one, but that ending blew me away. I was so enthralled. I was on the edge of my seat. I was screaming, crying, throwing up, all the good things. And it was so good. The way that this book ended and the way it set up the next one is so good. I loved it. This book reinvigorated my love for reading fantasy. So I am going to pick up a lot more fantasy from now on because it just reminded me like why I love the genre. You can tell such a rich story when you aren't limited to the science of this earth. You know what I mean? Like, it was so good. It was so, so good. Let me pull some quotes for you so you can see if you would like the writing style. On page 75, growing up Black in the South, it's pretty common to find yourself in old places that just weren't made for you. Maybe it's a building, a historic district, or a street. Some space that was originally built for white people and white people only, and you just have to hold that knowledge while going on about your business. Sometimes it's obvious when there's a dedication to the boys who wore the gray on a plaque somewhere, or a rebel flag flying out in front. Other times it's the date on a marker that tips you off. Junior high school field trip to the state capitol, big gorgeous Greek revival architecture built in 1840. Oh yeah, those folks never thought I'd be strolling the halls, walking around thinking about how their ghosts would kick me out if they could. Page 355. Cell grabs a thick folder and drops down to the floor with it, speaking without looking up. I'm going to skip over this because it's a spoiler. I blink, stunned at both the matter-of-fact tone of his story and how familiar that tone sounds. Sometimes you say the awful thing quickly and without taking a breath because lingering is too painful. Have you read Legendborn? Let me know down below if you have. I'd love to talk to people about this book. So, let me know. So I'm trying to decide, or I was trying to decide on the next big book that I wanted to read. And I don't want to go straight into Bloodmarked after this. I want to take a breather and do a palate cleanser in between this because I find that when I binge read series, I don't do a good job of being able to differentiate between what happens in which book. They all kind of blur together in one big story. So I want to take some time before reading Bloodmarked so I can keep the two books separate in my head. What I decided to do was make Kill Switch my big book because I've been reading that on Kindle Unlimited. And that sucker is almost 700 pages long. That's a big book. So that'll be my big book now. And I'm picking up another book on KU. And my cozy mystery reading friends will be happy about this one. So I'm picking up The Mad Catter by Kathy Daly. And this is book 2 in the Whales and Tales Cozy Mystery series. And this one centers around a cat sanctuary. So a cat rescue program. And they're on an island off the coast of the Pacific Northwest is where it's set. So if you're not familiar with cozy mysteries, because I do have a lot of new folks here who may not read cozies, if you've never read one before, definitely learn a little bit about the genre conventions before you do. I think a lot of people end up being disappointed by cozies because they expect it to be like a thriller or a horror, and it's not that. So cozy mysteries are a very distinct and specific genre with a specific purpose. So learn a little bit about that before you go into a cozy, and then maybe you won't be disappointed by it. You'll understand like why there's not any gore and why they spend a lot of time focusing on the day-to-day and things like that. But I read the first book in the Whales and Tales series, I want to say last year. It might have been early last year. It might have been the year before even. And I enjoyed it. It stuck with me. I still remember the story. I still remember the characters. I still remember the cats in the setting. And so I'm going to give book 2 here a go. Something that's really cute about this series is the titles are all titles of like famous things from literature, only catified. So like this is the Mad Catter instead of the Mad Hatter. Book 1 was Romeo and Juliet, and like it's just so cute and clever. I like it. I don't know, what this one's going to be about, but you generally don't need to in a cozy when you're reading cozies. It's more important that you just know like the setting and sort of the occupation of the sleuth. So the setting here is on an island off the coast of the Pacific Northwest, and the sleuth runs a cat sanctuary. So I'm picking that up on KU. I'm trying to decide because like I am like really loving fantasy right now. So I'm trying to decide, there's a project I'm going to start and it involves reading, let me grab the book, City of Bones by Cassandra Clare. This is book 1 in the Mortal Instruments series. I'm debating whether or not I want to go ahead and start this now or wait until it can be like my regular sized read. Because the regular sized read I am going for right now is what I started already. It's The Villa by Rachel Hawkins. So I'm trying to decide, do I want to add another book onto my list and just read this separately as part of the separate project that I'm doing? Or do I want to wait until I finish this and make it my regular sized read? I don't know yet. I'll let you know when I decide what I'm going to be doing. So yeah, Thursday night, I'm in between, barn chores and teaching night class. So I just got done with barn chores, cleaned up, put my face on a bit, and then I have night class next. I think after night class, I'm going to do a little bit of gardening and then reading. All right, hi y'all. I am at home. It is Friday. I'm just checking in. Ignore the breakouts on my face. I sweated all of my makeup off today. It was like 80 something and so freaking humid. You could see the humidity in the air like fog. Like it was so humid, and it rained all day and then it evaporated again, and like, yeah. So I sweated off all my makeup except my eyeliner. Hey, that's still there. All right. I have been trying my hardest to read The Villa, and this is a good book. Look what it did to the color there with that reflection. Okay, sorry. Pay attention. Focus. So, I've been trying to read it, and it's a good book. I really like it. It's actually dual timeline. So one is set in the 1970s, and then the other is in like present day time. And the 1970s is a different group of people that stayed at this same villa. And then, present time is the current folks staying at this villa, which is just two best friends. So it's a good book. I'm living, laughing, and loving with it. I'm on page 48.
but I can't focus because all I'm thinking about is Bloodmarked, which is the next book in the Legendborn series. And I think I'm just going to have to start it because I try to read my other books and all I can think about is Bloodmarked and how I want to be reading that book. So I'm just going to pick it on up and start reading that one because I'm not going to be able to focus on anything else. So, yay. Okay, in a previous vlog, when I was talking about Legendborn, I was talking about how we needed this. We needed this map. And it's in Bloodmarked. So it's a map of how all of these roles play out and how they're connected to each other. This needs to be in Legendborn as well, because I really had trouble keeping up with this when I read Legendborn. So I'm glad that it's in Bloodmarked. If you're reading Legendborn and you're wanting something that lays out the hierarchy of things, get a copy of Bloodmarked. Because here it is. Tracy Dion must have listened to me. Wink, wink.
Hello, it is Monday. I'm on my lunch break from work and I'm going to wrap up the vlog. I don't even remember at this point what kind of footage I got from the weekend. The weekend went by really, really fast. And I actually just took the weekend off, if you can believe it. I did a little bit of work on Sunday, but I really just took the weekend off to spend some time with friends, to spend some time with the horses, to get some cleaning done around the house. I did a little bit of booktubing. I filmed, edited, and uploaded my March wrap-up, so you probably will see that before you see this video. Sorry, my tripod is loose. One moment, I need to tighten a leg of the tripod so you don't fall over. Okay, there we go. No falling shall occur. So yeah, that's pretty much what I did this week. We had a funny moment at the barn yesterday. One of my friends was getting her horse out of the pasture, and one of the younger horses like ran her over and escaped the pasture and was loose. So I had to put on my cowgirl boots, figuratively speaking, and catch a loose horse and really put my horsemanship skills to the test. I think I passed with a C because no one unalived or cried. Yeah, that was the weekend. I think the last time I talked to you was Friday when I had started Bloodmarked. So I definitely got going with Bloodmarked. And now I'm reading a lot of books at the moment, but I just couldn't think about anything except this book. So I went ahead and started it, and now I'm actually able to focus on reading other books now that I know I've started this one and I don't have to wait to start it. And she's here and she's beautiful. Look at this cover. So yeah, I started this. I only got like 25 pages in. That was enough to like satisfy the itch. You know what I mean? It's got 25 pages into Bloodmarked. I finished White Horse by Erica T. Worth. I gave that 5 stars. It was so good. It's a very literary horror, so if that's like not your thing, be aware of that, because it's not like a slasher, and it's not like a jump scare kind of story. There are horror elements to it, but I feel like it's more literary than it is horror. But I loved it. I absolutely loved it. I connected so much to Carrie's journey of figuring out her family lineage, her family history. I'm really embracing that part of herself. I thought the characters were great. I did go ahead and order a copy because it's going on my list of rereads for this December. Yeah, that was a 5-star read. If you really like Native American literature, I recommend this one. I do. And then I'm about 75% of the way through the villa, and this is getting pretty good. So there's dual timelines in this. One is in the 70s with like a bunch of bohemians, basically rock stars and writers and musicians and things like that, staying at this villa in Italy for a summer. And then there's a current timeline where these two best friends who are both writers are staying at the villa in the summer. And the current timeline is figuring stuff out about the past timeline, and it's good. It's not like in terms of thriller, it's not like edge of your seat kind of a thriller, but the ambiance is pretty cool. Like if you like the 1970s rock and roll culture, like the factory culture, like of Andy Warhol, like that kind of a vibe, you would probably enjoy this. And honestly, I think I figured out the whole plot already, but I'm still having fun. Like this book is fun, and that's the bottom line. Like this is an entertaining read. There's nothing too thought-provoking happening here. But it's fun. Like it's a good time pass. It's good escapism. I also started The Mad Catter by Kathy Daly, and I remembered, okay, so it's the Madrona Island is where this is set, on the Pacific Northwest, on that coast area. And so, you know, I've talked about how I'm exploring my own family lineage and how all of these books are just lining up with this, and like having a little serendipitous moment, because Legendborn talks about inheritance and family lineage, and then White Horse talked about it. And now when I picked up The Mad Catter, so on the Madrona Island, at least in this book, it's settled and inhabited by a lot of Irish who have immigrated there. And my family is Irish. And that's the side of my family that I've really been exploring. And I was like, here we go again with that serendipity. So anyway, what is happening in this story is the I can't remember who it was. Somebody involved with the church gets murdered in the church, and the priest is the main suspect, and that's what's going on with that so far. And it was just such a happy moment, because they really were hitting on how the island's really inhabited by a lot of Irish Catholics and yada yada yada. So that was fun. I only got like one chapter into that book before I was like, I must read Bloodmarked. So that's that. I did not make any progress on Kill Switch by Penelope Douglas. And I think that sums up my reading for the week. That's the vlog. Thank you so much for being here. If you want to follow me on any of my other social media, primarily Instagram is what I mainly use, you're welcome to look at my description box down below. My information is there. And if you just want to let me know that you're here, go ahead and leave me a lemon emoji in the chat, or in the description, or in the comments. Comments. That's what I'm looking for, because there's lemons on this cover. I really love this cover. Anyway, yeah, that's it. In the meantime, make sure that you continue to read good books, drink good coffee, take care of yourselves and each other. Bye!